There's no doubt about it. Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson will be one of the hottest, if not the hottest coaching candidate as Black Monday approaches in the NFL. And Detroit Lions fans have been wondering, will he take a job as a head coach? Now, we know last year he was in the mix. He was very close to taking that Carolina Panther job and then turned it down. And we see now why that was probably the case, because David Tepper is he likes to meddle, and he basically he is now currently paying 2 coaches. If I'm not mistaken, they fired 3 coaches in just as many years, and they are still paying 2 of those guys. As a matter of fact, I read somewhere that Frank Reich is getting paid $50,000 a day for like the next 2 or 3 years. Unbelievable. So I don't think Ben Johnson's going to take that job, but he might have priced himself out of the head coaching race if this is indeed true. Coming from Josina Anderson, pretty reliable source in the NFL world, says, I'm told personnel around the league are discussing their awareness that some owners have been told, that's a lot to say, Lions offensive coordinators Ben Johnson's asking price is at least or around $15 a year for a head coach job per source. Now, obviously, she believes this, and I believe that there is a lot of truth to this, because she is not going to put her name on something that she can't verify or doesn't believe in. So Ben Johnson, $15 million per year. Now, I'm not sure what his salary is with the Detroit Lions. I know that we gave him a raise, and that, prompted him to stick around. He also said that he wanted to finish what he started. And we talked about what would happen with Jared Goff if he left. Now, I would love for Ben Johnson to stay. In my opinion, I would love him to stay until either, as long as it took, really. And if we win a Super Bowl, that would be the time that he could leave, in my opinion. Obviously, he can leave whenever he wants, but I wonder if this little leak is coming out, is he really trying to get paid, or is he trying to outprice himself, discourage some from some potential coaching candidate, head job candidates? Now, check this out. I wanted to know where he ranked as far as like $15 million, who he think he is, right? Where did he rank? If he did get at least $15 million a year, where would Ben Johnson rank exactly? Now, this website, this information is coming from a website called sportssyndicatebrand. I mean, all skeet. Wow, that is crazy. All right, what are the top earning head coaching jobs in the NFL? And yes, this is updated, because you'll see as the number 2 person is a coach that is coaching this year. Number 1 at $20 million, Bill Belichick. He will probably be out of a job, but we'll see that a little bit later. Number 2, Sean Payton with $18 million. Number 3, Pete Carroll with 15. So Ben Johnson right here will be coming in. He would be right with Pete Carroll, who has coached for 14 years in Seattle and the time at USC before that. Sean McVay, $14 million a year. And Mike Tomlin, $12.5 per year. Now, this guy, Ben Johnson, that is, hasn't coached in the NFL as a head coaching job ever. And every single guy on this list has a Super Bowl win, if I'm not mistaken. Sean Payton might be the only one that doesn't. I can't remember if he was coaching the New Orleans Saints at the time that they won the Super Bowl with Drew Brees. But even so, 4 out of the 5 top head coaches, as far as pay, have all won a Super Bowl in their time as head coach. So Ben Johnson trying to slide right in there with Pete Carroll and make just as much as him. Now, here are the top 5 hot seats as far as head coach for the NFL after this year. Robert Saleh, Matt Eberflus, Mike Tomlin, Ron Rivera, and Bill Belichick. Now, Bill Belichick is up in the air. I could go either way on that. Ron will be fired. I feel like Eberflus will be fired as well, unless they make a run. I don't think Robert Saleh is going anywhere, because Aaron Rodgers is not going to want to see a new coach come in there with his second year. And Mike Tomlin, I'm on the fence about that too. A lot of Pittsburgh fans want him out for some reason. And as he's approaching in like his 15-year career, the first time he could have a losing season. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers have had 3 coaches in like the past 60 years. And when they lose, they complain about everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Tomlin is fired, just because That's what the fan base wants, but we'll see what the Rooneys decide to do there. So out of these head coaching candidates, as far as the top 5 getting paid, and it's funny because out of the top 5 getting paid, 2 of those are on the hot seat, right? So here's my thing about Ben Johnson. If this is true, did he do this on purpose? Did he put those reports out there on purpose to either say, listen, if I'm coming to you, then you're going to have to pay me as like a top 5 head coach? Or did he put him out there and say, try to discourage people or owners from hiring him? These guys, these owners they're not warning for anything when it comes to money. So they have the money. Again, Tepper, the Carolina Panthers owner, is paying 2 coaches already, and who are sitting at home, and he's going to have to pay a 3rd one, right? So let me do this real quick because I didn't have this pulled up. Where do I think that Ben Johnson can end up? I honestly don't believe that he'll be a head coach this year, depending on the spot that opens. I was talking to a guy yesterday, and he was talking about the craziest things that could happen this offseason, that there's a potential that John Gruden could come back to, after his lawsuit and all that stuff is settled, could come back to the Las Vegas Raiders. Ben Johnson is not an idiot. He's not going to go to Carolina. You're already locked in with Bryce Young. You could have picked the guy you wanted last year, and you already know that David Tepper is a meddler. So not only is he a meddler, you don't have the quarterback that you might have wanted, C.J. Stroud. Now you're stuck with Bryce Young, right? So then you have, does he want to go to New England? Does he want to go to the Chargers? And from what I understand, if Jim Harbaugh is lured away from the Michigan Wolverines, he could be the Chargers head coach. But that would be the ideal spot for Ben Johnson. So maybe if Jim Harbaugh decides to stay in Michigan, every single year, it's always a Harbaugh coming back. They want Jim to come back to the NFL. And one of these years he might. A couple years ago, and I know it's weird because we're playing the Vikings in a few days. A couple years ago, Jim Harbaugh was like, already the paper was signed or whatever happened with the Minnesota Vikings. And the next thing you know, the deal fell through. So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually he does walk away from the University of Michigan and comes back to the NFL. So from what I heard from the Minnesota Viking guy yesterday, Jim Harbaugh is like the number 1 candidate that they want. And if that happens, I think Ben Johnson will continue to be the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. If Harbaugh does stay at the University of Michigan, I think the one and only place that he would go, being Ben Johnson, would be the LA Chargers. I don't think there's anybody else that he's going to want to go to. Washington Commanders, could they be something? But I don't know. They could. So we will see on Black Monday. And then after that, if Ben Johnson is going to leave. But I think Ben Johnson stays. And what if he did this? What if he put that out there to entice Sheila Hemp to throw him at least $15 million? So let me know, where do you think Ben Johnson will coach this year? And do you think this was put out there why do you think this $15 million was put out there? And the last question is, do you think that Ben Johnson deserves $15 million a year, make him a top 3 head coach as far as pay, and he hasn't been a head coach in the NFL? That would be unprecedented, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.